There's so many similarities between cancer and fungus. I know your doctor doesn't know that, but today you're going to learn it, right, toward the end of the show. In the opening of the show, I'm going to address this very controversial article that came out. Can you live past 90 by drinking more alcohol? Okay, I'll address that and hope to debunk that theory. Intertwined in that is a physician named Dr. Maxine Thomas, how her life changed thanks to a drug rep, a detail person who came in her office. She'll be here with us. And then also toward the end of the show, flooding in America. What in the world is going on? Well, somebody not from America, rather Brisbane, Australia, you love him, Dr. Greg Emerson, is going to talk about that. All that, and I assure you a whole lot more on today's Know the Cause. My name is Doug Kaufman. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists, and soon you too will know the cause. Okay, confession time for Doug Kaufman. The way I handled my post-traumatic stress at the age of 21 coming home from Vietnam was alcohol. It really worked. It was limited to weekends because I worked in hospitals and clinics and so forth. But boy, come Friday night, my friends and I would go out and drink alcohol. It really wasn't until 36 years ago that we began having children that I totally said, this probably isn't a good thing. Now I want to show you this, if we can put the camera over here. This is how much a study said, this and a half gallon more. So this is 5.5 gallons of beer that's okay to drink every month. So says a new study. And yet, I communicated with the doctor who did this study. Drinking alcohol key to living past 90. Man, and if you believe that, I've got some .com stock I want to sell you. New York Daily Times headline expounds on work done at the University of California in Irvine. Booze beats exercise according to a long-term study. So I communicated directly with the lead author of this. She is awesome. I hope she's going to come on Know the Cause. And she said, Doug, that wasn't my intention at all. We're just statisticians. I'm a physician, but we're just statisticians who did this work. And here's what we found. The study involved 1,700 who drank 2 beers or 2 glasses of wine a day. They found an 18% reduction in premature deaths. Who knows, except God, when we're going to die, that those who abstained from alcohol had. So she said, all we did was put the stats together, and those who drank 5.5 gallons of beer a month, 66 gallons of beer a year, seemed to fare better with regard to premature death, whatever premature death is. Okay, so here's the flip side of that coin, and take it from a guy who now abstains. I'm a teetotaler. Really? The largest study of its kind, this came out 2 days after the doctor's study came out, supporting alcohol. Largest study of its kind finds alcohol use biggest factor for dementia. Now look at these stats, 57,000, 2/3 were men, 1/3 women. The findings indicate that heavy drinking and alcohol use disorders are the most important risk factors for dementia, and especially important for those which start before the age of 65 and which lead to premature deaths. Again, whatever those are, right? Deaths that occur before they should have, premature deaths. But I found this one, not a 1,700 study, and they probably took college kids. Who wants to drink 2 beers a day? I do. I would have. And these are people as we age, right? The one leading factor in dementia, senile dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, the one leading factor was their predisposition to drinking alcohol. Not in all cases, but in some. And I never thought it was alcohol anyway. Alcohol is a mycotoxin. I think antibiotics can do the same thing because penicillin-based antibiotics are mycotoxins. I think aspergillus in our corn, in our wheat, in our air supply can do the same thing. Alcohol is just one of the things. Fungal mycotoxin exposure in alcohol. Now here you go, Council of Agricultural Science and Technology. Brewer's yeast is the fungus, and the mycotoxin is called alcohol. Producers often use grains that are too contaminated with fungus and mycotoxins to be used for table food, so the risk is higher that you're consuming more than just alcohol in your beverage. Did you get that? They buy old hops, old malt, old grapes that are already moldy. The fermentation process probably goes much better. They want that to be moldy, right? Oh, gosh, you guys, there's such an understanding. So here, safe alcohol, get this. A new analysis finds compelling, this is on WebMD, compelling evidence that drinking alcohol can cause at least 7 types of cancer. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, they're called IARC, I reference them often. They agree, listing alcohol as known to cause cancer. Alcohol is known to cause cancer. No, not the glass of wine Saturday evening. It's this kind of alcohol, 66 gallons of beer a year. Do the math on that over 10 years, and that's okay. As a matter of fact, one study shows that'll actually cut your risk by 18% of premature deaths. You want to go with those odds, folks, or do you trust that this research, International Academy or Agency of Research on Alcohol, is proper? They say that drinking alcohol, it is a known carcinogen. All I'm telling you, I'm not going home with you. I'm not saying don't take your pills, don't drink alcohol. I'm just saying that an educated consumer is a good one. Now you know both sides of the story. And for some of you, that 18% risk, that might be a good one for you. For the rest, just be careful out there. Know you can overdo anything, including air and water. Oh, I gotta tell you, you guys are in for a real treat for the next 5 minutes, so I'm gonna go quickly. Joining me right now is Dr. Maxine Thomas, local Dallas, Texas doctor. We wanted to have her on TV for a long time because this is the kind of doctor, when you see her, that doesn't reach into her starch coat pocket and hand you a prescription. Rather, she studies this. Oh, I know it hurts here. Ooh, ow, my arthritis. But she's going to look right here. Welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us. You're not the kind of doctor who's going to write a prescription for everything.
No, there was a time when I was a doctor like that. And I used to, but I was always interested in trying to find out what was going on with my patient and looking at cause. And so I then morphed from that kind of doctor to doing what you call functional medicine, where in functional medicine, you don't really believe in disease. You know that there's really just states of dysfunction, but it's the continuing to looking for cause.
You had a drug rep, you told me in the green room, come into your office. Tell folks that story.
Yeah, my aha moment. I had practiced medicine for over 18 years at the time, and I had a pharmaceutical rep in my office wanting me to switch to a new blood pressure medicine. And I could not for the life of me figure out why he was so insistent, because 3 weeks earlier he had been in my office telling me how good the drug was and how much better it was than the competition. But today it was no good anymore, and I needed to stop prescribing it immediately and prescribe the next one. And so I just couldn't figure out why. And so then the light bulb came on, and I realized, oh my God. And I said, you all not looking for cures. You're just looking for drugs people have to take every day for the rest of their life. All this time, I've just been selling drugs for you. How stupid have I been? And I was no longer drinking the Kool-Aid.
The aha moment, folks, made Dr. Thomas realize that, yes, I know it hurts here, but what happens here impacts this. Kind of in the 1970s, we called this psychoneuroimmunology, the effect of stress on your body's immune system. It lends a huge role, doesn't it?
Yes, in my pursuit of cause, and as a family practice doctor, I spend a lot of time listening to what I call my parts guys. So all the various medical specialists, and I figured out pretty quickly they were all saying the same thing. So they were all describing inflammation in different parts of the body, and so I said, okay, I'll just need to find out what else there is. And so I realized later that there are basically 3 things. All disease that doctors are what they're calling various diseases are really just 3 things. There's inflammation, any diagnosis that ends in itis. There's oxidation, which is how your body uses your oxygen.
Or rust.
Yes, rusting. And there's stress. And stress is the cause of the inflammation and oxidation. And that's it's just the 3 things. But stress is not scientifically measurable. It's a feeling. You can only see the results of the stress. You can't measure the stress itself.
You said during your medical training, another aha moment was, I want to go into psychiatry. But it lacked kind of scientific credibility. What they were doing was very subjective, right?
Yes, my original plan was to become a psychiatrist. But we had also just entered this era of evidence-based medicine. So you're supposed to have proof of what you did. and they didn't really have any proof. So there was no scientific evidence. And so I said, oh, so I'm supposed to do this because you said so? And I couldn't. And so I had to find something else to do.
How do you help the patients coming into your office now?
Well, I want them from the outset, regardless of their diagnosis, to understand really there's three things, and whether they're an itis in your colon, an itis in your skin, and some itis in your airway or whatever, that is what's going on, and the three things are still in play, and that the cause is the emotion of stress. And so even if they're taking medications, it takes a while for people to understand. They're not going to just shift their thinking and their belief overnight. So even though I may continue them on either medications or supplements to address those things, that's basically where you have to start.
This is thank you so much for that. I think you opened some eyes, and I've been wanting a physician on this show for a long time to teach us. I know it's a lump in your breast, but what role does your stress have to do with that? That's what Dr. Thomas is saying. There's her information. Write down the telephone number, the URL, her website. Get more information about this, folks, because often there's a stress moment that induced ill health. Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Movement. What does that really do for you? Daniel's going to teach us a little bit. And then after that, I'm going to broach this question, is cancer fungus or is fungus cancer? The similarities are amazing. I hope you're sitting down when you watch this. Here we go.
Hi everybody, I'm Daniel Crouch, and today we're going to talk about movement. Exercise is kind of a tricky word. Nobody really wants to exercise or work out, but basic human movement is something we all do, and let's talk about that. Let's dive in and show you the cause. Let's know the cause of proper movement, which is going to result in proper health, which is going to result in a better life. Let's just call it what it is. So, three things we want to focus on when we're talking about posture. You want to pull your shoulders as low as you can, creating a long neck, which also looks like the number one. So number one is a long neck, shoulders low. Number two is you want to take a number 2 pencil and you want to pinch it in between your shoulder blades like so. So number one, long neck. Number two, pinching that pencil between the shoulder blades. And number three, you're going to take an American Express black credit card and hold it between your buns. What that's going to do is it's going to kind of help you lean back a little bit. Now this, my friends, is perfect posture. Now, if anybody here has kids or even grandkids, this mess you probably see a lot of, and I'm familiar with it at my house, certainly. But instead of seeing it as drudgery or something I've got to do, I'm looking at it now as an opportunity to reinforce my perfect posture as I move through some basic movements. So hang in there with me, and we're all going to bring this in at the end, and I'm going to make everybody feel amazing after you've stretched some muscles. So the first exercise we're going to do is called a straight leg deadlift, and it's nothing more than bending over with perfect posture. So plant your outside leg, your left leg in this case, have something to hold on to stabilize. Now all we want to do is reach over, just like so, and pick up an object, okay? Now what you'll notice is that as I lean over, I'm not doing this whole thing here, because that doesn't inspire anybody. It's poor posture, and it doesn't do anything for your kinetic chain or the perfect posture. So we want to go ahead and keep our shoulder blades together, and I want to take my rear heel and I really want to reach for it. Now I should be a perfect T, a straight line here and a straight line here as I go over, as I bend over and pick up the object, just like so. Now you're going to feel a really good stretch in your hamstring, which is going to help your lower back and just help your overall body feel better. So last time here, plant the leg, find something to grab onto. I'm going to reach over, really reaching with my rear heel, this one back here, and making sure it's nice and tall, and then I stand back up. Now whether it's car keys or toys or anything on the floor, that is how I want you to reach over and bend over and pick anything up in the future. Let's go to this side over here and I'll show you again. So I'm going to find a good soft knee here, okay? Now I'm going to find something to balance onto. I'm going to go through my posture, 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to hold that posture through this movement. Everybody notice my heel. It's really, really reaching. The whole goal is to reach for this heel as I lean over and pick something up. Now, if you're a golfer, it's like picking up a hole-in-one. If you're a parent or a grandparent, it's picking up toys. And then one more. Now, we only did 4 each side, but I immediately feel this release, this stretching, this release of toxins and oxygen into my muscles. And I mean, I can't tell you, I immediately feel better. I immediately feel relaxed. I immediately feel endorphins, which by the way means inner morphine. So if you want inner morphine running through your body, stretching and moving with perfect posture is the key. So now cleanup time is fun. It's something that you're gonna look forward to because it's gonna bless you in the end. So thanks for coming with us here at Know the Cause, and let's go find something else to take care of to make us feel better.
Okay, quickly, what's the name of the show? Know the cause. Understand, the doctor said you have cancer. Really, doc? Are you sure it's cancer? Well, of course I'm sure. I did your tumor markers, and some of those measure fungus. Did you know that? We've done, segments on that. I measured your cancer tumor markers and it's elevated. You got a lump here, this is cancer. Just drop back a little. Some of the similarities I teach doctors between cancer and fungus are these. Let's go over them right now. Okay? Each can thrive in a sac inside your body. So that's a lump. Each can metabolize nutrients in the absence of oxygen. So it gets bigger and bigger and bigger in that sac over time. Each generates a poisonous caustic substance called lactic acid. Each depends on their host for sustenance, proliferation, and reproduction. Do you see where we're going? I mean, this is kind of interesting, folks. You have to understand that fungi grow in a little sac. It's called an ascomycete. It's called a mycetoma. It grows in a little sac. So let's keep going. Number 5, each thrive in the presence of sugar, fungus and cancer cells, and they die in the absence of sugar or carbohydrates. Both emit, now here's a big one, here is a big one. Both emit VOCs, volatile organic compounds. Here's what I find fascinating. Dogs that sniff out mold in your home also sniff out cancer in your body. You know what those dogs do? They smell volatile organic compounds. 2 completely different fields, folks. This is the most amazing thing to me. 2 completely different fields. You pay a guy $125, he'll bring a sniffing dog into your kitchen, sniff under the sink. Hey, there must be mold under there. The dog is picking it up. Now take him to 10 cancer patients, which 2 have cancer. He'll pick it out with accuracy. He's smelling volatile organic compounds. And then finally, and I've done a whole segment on this, a 6-minute segment, both respond to antifungal medicines. Yes, there are cancers that do very well. Prostate is one of them, right? There are other cancers that do very, very well when Sporanox is given to you. It actually inhibits. Sporanox is a toenail fungus drug. Tell your doctor about that because it's approved by the FDA now to treat cancer. Doc, before we go under the knife again, can I just try Kaufman 1 diet, which starves fungus, and can I try a drug called Sporanox for a month? I'll come back in and get my blood tested. Why do diet and supplementation work so well for cancer patients, even those undergoing chemotherapy, radiation, who don't know the information I'm teaching today? Because vitamins and minerals have antifungal properties. Psyllium fiber has antifungal properties. Amino acids like L-lysine, L-tyrosine, etc. have antifungal properties. Fatty acids like omega-3 fatty fish oil, antifungal. Fresh vegetables and fruits are antifungal. Coconut is antifungal. Spices are antifungal. Zinc not only is antifungal, it eradicates mycotoxins, the poisons made by fungus. Garlic does the same thing. Citrus oil, like D-limonene, are antifungal and antimycotoxin. Even probiotics are antifungal. So very often a doctor says, no, there's no link between your cancer and diet. And you guys say, well, doc, you don't go home with me, so I'm going to start on Kaufman diet. I'm going to start eating a lot of coconut, a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. I'm going to take amino acids, vitamins, zinc, vitamin C, etc. And you start getting better and better and better. And it's sometime you say to the doctor, listen, I want you to know something. I want to try Sporanox. I'm better on the diet. This may have a fungal link. If he says no, perhaps you can either show him this tape or find a doctor who will give it to you. It's FDA approved for cancer.
With all the recent flooding in the United States, it's important to remember the hazards of mold, with the CDC recently stating that if you aren't getting better, think fungus, with medical associations recently admitting that they have understated the role of fungus in bowel disorders, with the recent evidence that fungus is at the root cause of Crohn's disease, with the New Zealand study showing that fungus doesn't just make asthma worse, it actually causes it, it behooves us to not live in the same house as mold. Don't invite it into your body with a high sugar, high grain diet. Don't weaken your defenses by not getting enough vitamin D from the sun, omega-3 fatty acids from seafood, and iodine from sea vegetables. This is Dr. Greg Emerson with Doug Kaufman at Know the Cause Studios in the United States.
Isn't this fascinating? This still fascinates me, and I'm the host of the show, 19 years and running. The volatile organic chemicals that a dog smells in your kitchen, they can also line up 10 cancer patients and spot 8 or 9 of those cancer. The same dogs. All they're doing is smelling VOCs, volatile organic chemicals that both are compounds that both cancer tumors and fungus make. I mean, it's amazing when you stop to think about the discoveries that you're able to view here on Know the Cause. By the way, doctors don't agree with that yet, but someday they'll have to. What'd you think of the alcohol article? Isn't that interesting? I don't drink alcohol, and I hope to make it to 90 and beyond, God willing. And then thank you so much for Dr. Maxine Thomas. Isn't she sweet? It's amazing how a detail person changed her whole practice. She's out here locally in the Dallas area. Dr. Greg Emerson, thank you for joining us. You know, he's such a joy to have on. Here's a guy in Brisbane, Australia, that is talking about flooding in the U.S. We've had some problems. Make sure you get that Pioneer air cleaner in your home. I have some of those. Thank you guys for joining us today. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.